day to you. A very good day to you. We are delighted that you have decided to spend the next few minutes in our company. We trust that you will be entertained, challenged, inspired and amused in equal measure. We trust that you will leave this place smiling and better disposed towards your fellow man. We trust that you will leave us with a gift of thanks made real in your applause. But I ride ahead of myself. You need to know who we are and what we are about. For myself, I am John Boultbee Brooks, a saddler by trade, born and bred in Hinckley in the Midlands, born there, educated there, and most likely I shall be buried there too. I have a small company and hope for a larger one. I have a small staff who assist me in my endeavours and whom I in turn treat like my family. We are happy and becoming prosperous. I believe that all it takes is one great big idea. But as yet, such an idea has not entered my head. But it will. I am certain of it. I feel it in my heart. This is my young assistant, Percy Starling. A shy man, not foolish, as some seem to think. A man of few words, and those usually quietly spoken and slowly given. But brave and resourceful, a good man with a big heart and brains. He's also a great sportsman, very keen on the latest contraption, the bicycle. Just there is Mrs. Prescott, a formidable character and my works manager, respected by all who know her and feared by those who don't. A staunch member of the local chapel and ruthlessly efficient. I don't know what I would do without her. Hinckley seems to breed women like her by the dozen. Her husband, a mouse of a man, is rarely heard from. He likes to garden, even in the dark and the rain. I believe he plays cricket, when he's allowed. And finally, young Sally, quite the sweetest girl you could ever hope to meet. Mrs. Prescott's prized and much beloved daughter. She is a stitcher, and whilst not the fastest I have known, by far the neatest. She will make someone a fine wife one day. But what man would marry her, knowing what he would inherit by way of a mother-in-law? Well, there we are, and today is payday. Mrs. Prescott dishes out the wages, and every recipient gets a sermon at no extra cost. The memory of her little words does take the edge off the weekend for some, prevents them from a drunken splash at the Hollybush Inn. But then that's no bad thing, and words never really harmed anyone. So, Mrs. Prescott, all done?
Well, there's just young Starling, sir, but he's always the last to collect his packet. Anyone would think he didn't want a wage.
He's always last to everything. Last to lunch, last to leave. Hard worker. And this month, an increase. He's a rising man, Mrs. Prescott.
I know it, and I have noted it. He'll do nicely.
Whatever do you mean?
Just you wait and see. There'll be news before long, you mark my words.
Very well, I'll wait and see. Oh, have a good weekend, Mrs. P. Anything planned?
Well, there's the chapel outing to Bosworth on Saturday. That's what's planned, and God willing, the sun will shine on us all.
Indeed. Well, it is the summer, so the calendar tells us, and sunshine is what we expect, if rarely get. Well, have a good weekend, and regards to your husband. No, cricket this weekend, I take it?
No cricket ever. I told him he has better things to be doing with his time now. His playing days are over. Good day, sir.
Oh.
Good evening, Mrs. Prescott. I've come for my packet, if you don't mind.
Here we are. And whilst you're here, we'll be expecting you on Sunday.
Sunday?
At the chapel. I know your church, or at least you say you are. And if you're to come to us for dinner, then it makes sense for you to join us at the chapel first.
Dinner?
Yes, dinner. With veg from our Reggie's garden. It's quality food, much better than you'll get at that boarding house. Plus it'll give you time to get acquainted.
Acquainted?
With our Sally. You see, I have come to the conclusion that you are a rising young man, and our Sally, she could do far worse than having you as an husband. So, we best get it sorted. No point wasting time. At least that's how I see it.
Me and Sally? But we've never even spoken.
I'm fully aware of that. And for why, I would like to know. Don't you think she's the prettiest creature on two legs?
Well, yes, she certainly is very pretty.
Good. Nothing wrong with your eyes, then. So, Sunday at the chapel, you can walk her home to our house afterwards. She knows the way.
But
what?
I'm vegetarian. I don't eat meat.
Nonsense, of course you do. Well, it's no matter. We always have chicken on Sundays, so it's fine then. Good day, sir. Make sure you save some of that packet. You'll need it for the wedding.
Sorry. It's not my idea, it's hers. You can run away if you like. I won't mind. I won't be hurt or anything.
I won't run away. I don't like to do that. But I don't think I'll marry you. It doesn't seem right. We've never even met. We don't know each other.
Exactly. It's my ma. She gets an idea in her head, and once it's there for good. She never changes her mind. Not unless you do something really bad, like rob a bank or become a Tory.
Right. Well, thanks. Look, I better go. I still need to see Mr. Brooks. I'll see you on Sunday.
Oh, it will be very boring. If Mr. Hobhertz, he shouts at you for an hour telling you you're burning in hell of your wicked sins and imaginings. And then after, he stuffs his face with biscuits and drinks tea by the pint. Singing's fun though.
I don't sing. It's not fair on others if I do. Look, guess I have no choice. Till Sunday then.
Still here, Percy? You've done enough today. Go, be young, enjoy yourself. Or has Mrs. Prescott put you off living?
She has, rather. She has chosen me to marry Sally. I'm going for dinner on Sunday.
Well, you could do worse.
Worse than Mrs. P for a mother-in-law?
Maybe not. Well, it may never happen. And she is a grand cook. Her roasts are to die for. But you're a vegetarian. Ah, well, let me know how it all goes on Monday. I shall be thinking of you and praying for you. Oh, Mrs. Prescott. I'm sorry, Percy. I shouldn't laugh. But I do.
Well, that certainly was different. I never knew one man could sweat so much. If you had been sat in the front row, you would have needed a raincoat. He did get all fired up when he started talking about hellfire, didn't he?
He's always like that. Mother says he doesn't really understand the Bible very much. He's not very educated, so he overcompensates by shouting and threatening. At least that's what she says. I switch off the minute he walks those stairs to the pulpit.
Well, it certainly is a difference from Reverend Frost. After about 10 minutes of him talking, the whole congregation gets restless. Now, he is an educated man, so much so that no one understands a word he says. But that's as it should be, according to my landlady. She wishes we still had services in Latin. Oh, ignorance is bliss.
Percy, you'll forgive me for asking, but I can't help but notice you're walking a little strange. Have you suffered an injury? I only ask because Mother will want to know. She'll suspect you weren't long for this world and pass up on the whole marriage idea.
And that would be a good thing.
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's my bicycle. Well, the seat. The seat, it's made of wood, good solid oak. The bicycle is a wonderful thing, an invention that has changed my life, but the seat is an instrument for torture for all men. 5 minutes is enough for anyone to bear, and after that, every rut, every bump, every obstacle is a danger to my comfort. It takes a while for me to recover.
Then why do you cycle everywhere? Why not catch a cab?
Well, it's my freedom. God, you can see the whole world from a bicycle. I often go to Leicester, and Bosworth. It's wonderful. You should try it sometime. You could come with me.
Oh, I'd love to, but, well, Mother would object, and, well, I don't know, maybe I don't think it's quite the thing for ladies after what you've just said.
Ah, yes. Maybe you're right. But there is this new invention. It's called a tandem. It's a bicycle made for two. Well, you did ask. Look, can we talk about this whole marriage thing? How are we going to get out of it?
Well, I've told you. You're going to have to run away in the night and leave no forwarding address, or Mother, she'll track you down and
Whoa, okay, I get the picture. Look, I don't want to move. I like it here. I like Mr. Brooks. He's a good man. I see a future with him.
Then you'll have to find a reason not to marry me. You could tell Mother you're foreign, or illegitimate, or already married to 3 other women because you're actually a Mormon.
Well, one of those is true. I am foreign. Sort of. My family are from Wales. Does that count?
No, that would make you a saint. Mother thinks Wales is right next door to heaven. Look, we're here. Word of warning, eat everything. Mother hates waste.
Yeah, I expected as much. Look, I'm vegetarian, chicken or not. I don't eat meat.
We all have to if you want to survive the afternoon. Oh, and say nice things about the service.
Well, I liked the mural. And the singing was good. Well, I enjoyed my cup of tea.
Oh, come on, that'll do.
I think that I have been looking in the wrong direction. I thought that it would be in the realm of horses that I would make my mark. A new saddle or something to do with a carriage. But basically, a saddle is a saddle and a carriage is a carriage. Apart from aesthetic, the design is perfected. No, I need to turn my gaze from the equine to something new. But what? Ah, Percy. Good heavens, man. What's wrong with you? You look as if you've rammed 2 stakes down your trouser legs. Are you pretending to be a walking scarecrow? Or perhaps being that monster conjured by Mary Shelley? Because if you let Mrs. Prescott catch you looking like that, she'll write you off as a marriage match for her daughter.
It's my bike. Well, the saddle, the wood. Oh!
Good Lord.
Oh, now it's giving me splinters, for heaven's sake. Look, this is getting beyond a joke. I might have to chuck the whole thing, and that would certainly be a blow. I had an end to my freedom.
Right. No, don't give up. Not yet, at least. And how is the fledgling romance going? Mrs. Prescott tells me you were a great success at dinner. Her husband Reg approves. I mean, he was told to, I know, but all the same. She says you are a gentleman with a fine turn of phrase, a good mind, and passable features. I doubt she'd say that now, mind. And Sally, how are you getting on? I like her. She's not a bit like her mother. Independent, caring.
Oh, Sally is wonderful. Well, I fully expected to hate her when I first met her, but now I feel like I'm falling in love with her. And I feel that she seems the same about me. This is most unexpected.
Good, good. I like it when things work out. Now, if only you could overcome... Ah, Mrs. Prescott. We were just talking about you.
Were you now? Mr. Starling, I hear we have the pleasure of your company again this weekend for the flower show. My Reg will be showcasing his cucumbers and tomatoes. I will be submitting an apple pie. I've won many a prize for my pies.
And very fine pies they are, Mrs. Prescott. I always love your pies. Why, I imagine you could make a fortune if you were to go into business supplying pies to local hotels.
Mr. Starling, are you quite well? You seem to be wincing, and the way you're standing reminds me of my Reg when he suffers from his piles.
Yes, I am quite fine. It's just that...
He is just testing out some new riding gear that you wear under the trousers to cushion the impact of a bumpy road. I am not sure they will be a success. They seem to be very uncomfortable, which is rather contrary to the intention. Thank you, Percy. You may go. And leave the new, undergear in my workshop when you leave. Go.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Nice lad, that. Game for anything.
I've been doing some digging.
Oh, like Reg, gardening.
Into the young man's background. Did you know his mother was Welsh?
Yes, I did.
And his father French. He died before the boy was 1, never knew him.
A tragedy.
But French, Mr. Brooks. I mean, I am not sure that's quite the thing for my family after all. I cannot have French blood flowing through the veins of any future Prescott children.
Well, strictly speaking, they'd be Starling children, but I see what you mean.
He's a nice lad. But Reg will agree with me when I tell him, and so will our Sally. It'll all be off this weekend. I'm just telling you this so you'll understand if there's any awkwardness between them at work.
How kind.
Well, that's me done. Just a thought, Mr. B. Our profits really do seem to be on the plateau at present, so we could do with that big idea anytime soon.
I know. It's coming. I feel it in my bones. Something that was said this afternoon. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Prescott. All the best with your pies. Now, what was it? What was it? Oh, I see it now. The bicycle saddle. The wooden saddle for the two-wheeled contraption that Percy rides. What if it were made like a horse's? No, that wouldn't do. It would still cause problems. But what if it were sprung? What if it absorbed all the bumps and ruts in a spring? What if instead of wood, we had soft, high-quality leather made by the finest craftsmen? Oh, I do believe, Mr. Brooks, you could well be a genius. And you could well save a generation of young men from sterility. The bicycle is the future. And I can make sure it's one in which everyone will be sitting comfortably.
If Mother were to see us, I really think she'd do something she regretted.
Oh, it's doing something that I'd regret that really worries me. Oh, she is a powerful woman. Whew. Oh, my derriere.
Is that your French blood coming out?
Oh, better French than what I might say in English. Are you sure there's nothing I can do or say to get your mother to change her mind?
Nothing. She's already asked Albert Pickering for lunch on Sunday. He sweats and belches, and Mother says it's just part of his manhood, but I think he's quite an animal. And besides...
Besides?
It's you I love. There, I've said it. It's you I love, there's no one else. I want to be Mrs. Percy Starling and ride the two-seater bicycle and settle down and have children, maybe 5 or 6.
Whoa, I haven't asked, yes?
I know, but you're going to. That's what this whole thing has been about, hasn't it? You've taken me someplace romantic to propose?
Well, no. That's not what I had in mind. I wanted to see you, and I wanted to introduce you to the joys of cycling.
But now that you're here...
Oh, you really are like your mother in some ways, you know?
When I need to be so.
Well, if you expect me to get on my knees after 50 minutes on sitting on that saddle, you've got another thing coming. Look, here. I can't do it. Look, Sally, as I stand here in absolute agony, the pain, it's nothing compared to the pain of the thought of no longer being able to be by your side for the rest of my life. Will you marry me?
I will! Oh, Percy, that was nicely done. So, what do we do now? We can't tell Mother, she'd forbid it. We'll have to elope.
Elope?
To Gretna Green, if we come back all married and things, she'll have to accept it, French blood or not.
So how will we get there?
Well, we'll cycle.
Right. Look, I better talk to Mr. Brooks. He might have something that can help us. Let's get back on those cycles.
This is it. It really should work. It's a thing of beauty, even if I do say so myself. No more splinters. No more unwelcome aches and pains. The bottom, male or female, will be perfectly cushioned from every bump and rut. They will, in fact, be sitting pretty. Ah, all that's needed are some working trials. Now, where's Percy when I need him? Ah, just the man. Here it is. What do you think of it? It will make my fortune. It will change the world. It will revolutionize and popularize the bicycle.
What is it?
It's a sprung bicycle seat. The first of its kind. A prototype, if you will, but the first of many, if it works. I was rather hoping you might, try it out.
What? Instead of a wooden one? Oh, you bet I will. You wouldn't happen to have two by any chance, would you?
Yes, I do. One for the man and one for the woman. Why'd you ask?
Oh, it's for Sally and me. We're running away. Well, rather, cycling away to Gretna Green, and this just might mean we make it.
I thought the whole thing was off.
Well, Mrs. Prescott says it is, but Sally and me, we say different.
Oh, you do you? Oh, this will not end well.
It will if we can get to Gretna Green.
All that way on a bicycle? Even my sprung saddle won't help you there. It's too far.
No, only to Leicester. We're catching a train from there. Go on, Mr. Brooks. Think of the romance. Think of the trial. Think of the publicity. We could make headlines for you.
Very well. But don't blame me if Mrs. Prescott chases after you.
Well, not on a bicycle, she won't. Not with us having the only two saddles in existence.
Very well. The other is in my workshop. I may live to regret this, but good luck to both of you. Any minute now. Any minute now. Ah, she comes. Mrs. Prescott. Oh, you appear to be quite distressed.
Distressed? I'll say I am. Ah, Sally, that awful girl has run off with that French lad, Percy Starling. See? She left me a note.
Yes, I know. They're off to Gretna to get married on their bicycles.
Oh, well, they'll never make it. They'll be crippled before they get to Wilshilton.
Not with my new saddle. At least, I hope not.
You help them in this.
I rather think I have. But purely in the interests of science.
But what am I to do? Think of the shame. Think of the neighbours. Albert, I promised him.
You could always unpromise. You did that with Percy. You should be getting quite good at it by now. And as for the neighbours, you never cared what anyone else thought of you before. Why start now? Oh, they will make a fabulous couple. They will do you and Reg proud. And they will help make the name of Brooks Saddles famous throughout the world.
So he'll be in for a rise then? I suppose a rise might cushion the blow, so to speak.
A rise? Certainly. If he makes it, if they both make it. No hard feelings, Mrs. Prescott?
Well, not now they're using one of your saddles, eh, Mr. Brooks?
No, quite. Well, I think we deserve a drink. And tomorrow, a welcome home party for our newlyweds. I'll pay. A late reception, if you will.
Right you are. Well, I'll have to tell Reg to change his mind. I mean, he won't like it, but, well, there's no helping it.
And how's your derriere?
Well, my bottom is perfectly fine. I'm sitting pretty, as I'm sure you've noticed, Mr. Starling.
You certainly are, Mrs. Starling. Pretty as a picture. Oh, it's a shame we didn't get no pictures. Nor have a wedding cake. Did you miss all that?
Well, I did, but we did what we must and we had what we wanted, so what's a little bit of wedding cake or a dress or pictures? We have our memories and we have each other. But look, there's the workshop. Seems a pity that we have to give the saddles back. Mr. Brooks does really need them, I suppose.
Yes, but I'm sure we'll get some of our own soon enough. I've got one or two suggestions that might improve things, especially for the girls. Look, there's Mr. Brooks and your mother. They're rolling out a banner. What does it say?
says, "Welcome home, Mr. and Mrs. Starling." Oh, Percy, it's going to be all right. It really is.
Congratulations, old boy. Congratulations. Well, my boy, what's the verdict? Is my saddle a success?
It was almost perfect. You have invented something really wonderful. It was thanks to you we were able to do what we did.
Splendid, splendid. This is big, you know. A revolution that, like all good revolutions, starts from the bottom up.
In more ways than one.
I can't say I'm happy with how you behaved, but you do seem happy now, so let's say all is forgiven and forget the past. You just seem like a good man for a foreigner.
He was born in Nuneaton, Mum. He's as English as you and me.
Yes, well, now you're back, let's get on with the reception. It's all ready. The only thing we need is the new Mr. and Mrs. Starling.
Well, thank you. Let's go in, and we'll leave our bicycles outside, and from now on there's no limit to where we can travel. Why, we might even make it to France.
And so it began. A simple idea that has stood the test of time. Brooks saddles became the saddle of choice for most riders and were fitted to literally millions of bicycles over the years. The company I founded still exists, still makes seats to my design with the finest quality leather and workmanship. Who'd have thought it? But then that's Hinckley for you. Birthplace of ideas. Always was, always will be. Remember that, those of you for whom this is home. Remember it and be proud. Now, please excuse me. I have a cake to eat and champagne to drink. There is much to celebrate.